can you see this person's perspective, but can you see beyond this barrier that is in front of you right now? And we do get to that place of gratitude and actually appreciation. Now, it takes us refusing to stay in a victim mindset in order to do that.
Well, this is the time of the week where we get out of the victim mindset, and we are in our final book study page. Always do your best of the 4 agreements. I'm Devon O'Day.
I am Teri Pugh. How are you, Devon?
I'm fantastic. It's launch day time, and we are ready to launch, and people are popping on like crazy, like our virtual popcorn, and we love it. You guys are part of the conversation that make this show so fun and so happy. There's our Elizabeth. There she is.
Happy Wednesday.
There is our Angie. Hello.
Angie.
We are glad that you guys are here. This is our little, and it's not I don't know. I guess it's a support group. This is a subject group, and we talk about all sorts of stuff.
It's just our little connectivity group.
And we're about, Teri's going to start a new private group that we have some questions that have come up. There's one for women that you're creating that we haven't done yet, but we'll let you know when we do. And you can request to be a member, and we'll put you in there. And we're going to discuss some things that we don't necessarily want to have out there, but
Well, let's just be real. I mean, if anybody is listening, we're going to be discussing what it's like to age inside a woman's body, and what it's like when, where does our self-thought and our worth and our spunk go when menopause knocks at the door, or when the crow's feet start cackling, or when your boobs start sagging. Where do we go with that? And where you laugh when you pee yourself.
Well, there's that, but there's the thing that I always say, that when you wake up one day and someone has invaded your body and left you a new one, and you don't necessarily love the one that you've got,
right?
It's how to learn to love that and keep your life going. And that's a private group that we will be starting. Candy is with us. Hi, Candy.
Hey, Candy.
Have you? Corinne is checking in. And Elizabeth says, "Oh Lordy, I ran back into aging in my gynecologist office yesterday."
Well, there you have it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's going to be a fun group. That's going to be, and I say fun because it is going to be fun, because it really doesn't matter if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 90 plus. Sometimes, life sneaks up and smacks you upside the head, and women end up, not that men don't too, but this particular group is focused around women, and we end up with chronic pain, or we end up with stuff going on in our body that we would rather not have. And because we are not familiar with it, we end up not liking ourselves very much. And that's diabolically dangerous for us, because we'll unpack all that.
We will. And that's the private group that we'll talk about.
Yeah.
And and if you want to be in that group, just let us know. You can email Teri, and she'll give you the instructions as soon as that group has been formed on the book of face.
That's right.
Candy says, sounds really great. Teri, count me in. That's what Candy says. So,
all righty. Yeah.
Always do your best. That is the last installment of the 4 agreements in our book study for January. And wow, that should be the easiest one for us to do.
We might assume so, right? Yeah. Well, but you know what? Sometimes we do tell ourselves that, right? How many times have we been doing something and we're like, well, I'm just trying as hard as I can. But then when you really check yourself, you hold yourself accountable, you look through that little romper room accountability mirror, and you look at it, you're like, okay, maybe not. Maybe
am I telling the truth?
Am I being impeccable with my word? And am I truly doing my best at this moment? Your best is going to change from moment to moment. On a day that you're feeling on top of the world, your best might be 110%. On a day that you're feeling like you are in the armpit of the world, your day might be, you might only have 10% to give. But if you're giving 100% of that 10%, even if that's 90 shy of the norm, you're still doing your best.
That's the best you can do in that moment.
Absolutely.
With what you have to work with. I think that one of the things, and in practicing rigorous honesty and I think being honest with ourselves is the first place to start.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are the only one that creates that measuring stick for what is our best.
We create our best based on, we do create that measuring stick, but usually before we create that measuring stick and we hold it up as this is mine, this is who I am, somebody or some persons in our life have been tick marking away for us because this is what good looks like. This is what healthy looks like. This is what normal looks like. This is what productive looks like. So sometimes you can lock yourself into a mindset that you should be doing what someone else has marked as best, but you might not mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially be able to reach their best. You have your own best. And that's your responsibility to meet your best.
Right. Looking at ourselves with, and I'm not saying even a critical stick. I'm just saying look at ourselves with an honesty stick.
Mm-hmm.
We know exactly what we're giving and what we're not taking. And I did learn this a lot, and I call it, in my time in Teri's chair, my time in the chair, looking across the room at Teri when she would go, really? That one word will make you self-examine and go, okay, really, I haven't done what I haven't.
I haven't. Not what I should, not what I could, just I haven't done it.
Yeah. And pointing out things. One of my things is in the always do your best category is the phrase that comes up for everybody at least once in their life, if not more. I don't have time. I didn't have time. I didn't have time. Now that is the thing that the truth stick that we look at. The I don't have time will keep you from doing your best, because we all have the same amount of time. Days are the same amount of minutes for every single being on the planet. And the thing that really got me into that is I started looking at my screen time. I have a monitor now that tells me how much screen time I use, and it alerts me throughout the day. And I go, oh, wow. Because suddenly I didn't have time meant I used my time for the wrong thing. Therein lies the problem. And has anybody else ever had that where they realized they used their time in a way that did not serve their better good? I'm not going to say in the wrong way, but just maybe it didn't serve you the best way.
Me. Absolutely. I did it last night. I was sitting down watching the Great British Bake Off or whatever that show is. And my daughter's birthday is coming up this weekend, and I have a couple of posters that I do yearly for her birthday. And I was watching that show, and I knew all day long, I had said, those posters have got to get done because I'm leaving day after tomorrow. Posters got to get done. Got a full day tomorrow. Do you think that I got up off my katushy tush and got that stuff and started working on it right there in that moment? No, I watched another whole British Bake Off series. And then I got up and got it, but then I was in my zone with it. And so the creativity was flowing, but it's real easy to get in that space of, well, I just need to, I should. And then I didn't, and then when I didn't come in, it's pretty simple. I didn't, or I didn't. And I feel so, and then you start that narrative that just tears you down. Just own it. I didn't. Did I put myself in a place where I feel rushed today? No, I did not. But have I done that in the past? Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Julie joins us. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
Corinne says, lots of times I don't feel like I measure up because I can't do what needs to be done.
So what I would say to that, Corinne, and thank you for sharing that, because I believe that there are many of us who have found ourselves in that spot in the past. And when we look at what needs to be done, I tell folks, Devon and I talk a lot about calendars and lists and things like that, and just being very clear with what needs to be done. Is it what genuinely needs to be done today in this moment, or is it what needs to be done a week from now or 2 days from now? And sometimes that list in the day in the moment is going to be pretty heavy. And then you have to prioritize what absolutely 100% needs to be done. And then you have to look at, is there anything that can be delegated to someone else? Because I know that a lot of times, whether we're partnered, whether we have kids, we can take on more than we really recognize, not more than we need to, but we can take on more than we recognize that we're taking on.
Mm-hmm.
And then we need to look and see what can we graciously and politely give back? What can we delegate? And there, and there is that option for us. So, and sometimes it's tricky, but we can navigate it.
Corinne, I feel your pain.
I feel your pain too. As I sit here and look at 3 dogs sleeping, I'm like, oh, yes.
Yes, we have all those things, Candy says, I struggle to start things because I don't really know how, and then nothing gets done.
Yes.
Yeah.
So connecting with people who can help with the how, and also challenging ourselves sometimes to really look at our ability, challenging ourselves to, I'm the first person, if somebody says something techie comes up, I'm like, I can't do that. It's technology. But I also know I really don't want to do it. So if I just say, that's not my jam, I don't want to do that, that's not important to me, I'm going to resource that out. Sometimes you can't, because it's just, you might not have the finances for it. You just don't know how to do some things. My best friend in the world from a visual standpoint is YouTube. I will YouTube how to do just about anything. And there's this great man out there. I cannot, if I find his information, if any of you guys know what it is, post it below. And if we don't, I'll find it and post it below. There's this gentleman out there who is probably 65 years old, something like that. And I forget what his screen name is, but he goes through the how-tos, how to tie a tie, how to check air pressure in your car, how to, know what side your gas tank is on. I didn't know. I'm 58 years old. I didn't know this till I bought my last car. And they were like, well, your gas tank's on your right-hand side. And I'm like, how do you keep up with that? Well, there's an arrow right inside on your dashboard by your.
I swear to you, today years old. I same thing. Somebody pointed that out, and I went. It was like the angels started.
Right.
I have had to go out and repark and refinagle so many times, and I always forget. And I'm going, duh. Mm-hmm. It's right there. Mel is joining us on Sammy's page. This is perfect timing for me to hear as always. And I love your smile this morning, Devon. Well, I love you, Mel. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Rhonda, technology is great when it works, but when it doesn't, it's a pain. I don't like it. The thing is, I think I can. And then a part of me laughs like crazy. Fooled you again. Corinne, you are a funny person. Mm-hmm. But I do know that I try things, and I call it YouTube University. Because I have stepped into stuff by saying yes and then figuring out later how to do the thing I've said yes to. Mm-hmm. Happens all the time. But you know what? I use my early morning when I get up, and I try to learn one thing on YouTube University every day.
Ooh, that's good.
I just it's small things, but I will go through that, and I go, there are people on there that know how to do stuff that I couldn't even. And it's always just really kind of simple things for some people, anything's like, I mean, I don't know what's wrong with when the check engine lights, the different things. I don't know how to read my dash. Mm-hmm. And some dashes are so sophisticated. So I started literally I devoted 1 month to learning what those different signals were on my dash and what they meant and when I needed to go get them checked out, because I don't know about cars. I don't know about my truck. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. You don't know until you do, right?
Yeah, until you're stuck on the side of the road, and then you go, I should find this out for myself. Yeah, because we can learn anything.
Sure.
Now
And
we may not know how to fix it. I didn't say I'm not. I mean, I'm not going to go and install a transmission,
right,
but I do know when I need to go have someone do something.
right. But I would also venture to say that if you had an interest in
Oh,
changing a transmission out and you knew someone who could walk you through it, you could do it if you really wanted to do it. You might not have an
right,
interest to do it. I don't have
right.
an interest to rebuild a computer. Are you kidding me? That does not
Mhm,
interest me in the least. So I'm never going to sign up for that course. Never.
mhm.
But if we're going to talk about, you know, some crafting, sign me up. I'm there, you know.
Oh, and I
So,
mean, that's another thing. I mean, at least one day a week, I go and I do like a recipe a week. I do a craft thing a week, and I love the saving money channels. And I have learned so much about saving money. And, you know, you think in terms of anything that you learn, you put that in a bank of knowledge. You'll never be broke because you've got this knowledge bank, and that allows you to pull from that.
right,
And
right,
I think that's so important to always try to be a lifelong learner.
right.
That
And
is a
in
way to always do your best.
that, doing that, you can start with, as I said earlier, start with what you know your best to be, but also don't limit yourself by what you think your best is, because
Mhm.
sometimes our best is, our self-perceived limitations come from other individuals, maybe well-intended. They didn't intentionally mean to be whatever, but and some do. But don't gauge your best by what someone else tells you your best is, because only you know
Yes.
what that is.
That's right. It's your measuring stick.
Mm-hmm.
It's your measuring stick, and being honest with yourself. But I always say that's the first thing, be rigorously honest with yourself. But number two is, there's a great book by Hugh MacLeod, and I write this down because check it out. It's a really great book. It's called Ignore Everybody. And it's a little short, pithy little book, but man, it is so right on the money. And ignore everybody, because nobody's walking in your shoes in the moment of
Right.
your life, and they haven't been through what you have. So everybody can be an expert in somebody else's. But you know why most people point out something about us is because they don't want to look at something that's going on in their life. It's much easier to tell somebody, hey, you need to do this. Hey, you need to do that. All the while they are mired
Yeah.
and
Well,
stuck.
yeah. And another thing is, what might have been your best at one point and you try
Ah,
something again later,
mhm,
doesn't mean that you're stuck in that place that you were stuck in the past.
uh-huh.
Like, you might not do, whatever it is, if it's doing a 5K or whatever, you might think, well, I tried that before and I didn't do so great at it. Okay, you tried it before. You might not have done so great at it, but are you willing to try it again? And are you willing to give yourself some slack and some grace, because you might just do it differently this time? And if
Ah.
you pep talk yourself up rather than tear yourself down, I can assure you you'll do it differently. You know.
We are doing the book study of Don Miguel Ruiz, but this particular quote goes back even further. Og Mandino, if you look at The World's Greatest Salesman, Og Mandino has some amazing truths that he shares, but he started out with always do your best. What you plant now, you will harvest later. I
Mm-hmm.
really love that. Don Miguel Ruiz took that on a more current time. Always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick,
Mm-hmm.
which is what you're saying, Teri.
Yes.
Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. Notice he didn't say you will avoid judgment.
Right.
You can't
Right.
you, you can't control other people's judgment. This one I found, and I really love this one too. Always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. That is it's the mantra to put in front of you. If you know beyond a shadow of a doubt, wherever you are in your walk, that you have done the best that you have with what you are working with,
Mm-hmm.
wow.
And those tools are going to change. The tools, the more self-discovery you do, the more self-care you do, the more self-kindness you do, the more self-actualization you do, you're going to recognize that your best is going to change. Every time you try something, it's going to be different. And it's going to be different on, some of us can lock ourselves into, I have to do the best all the time, meaning there's a self-judgment about doing the best. And so they won't leave work if there's, 5 things left that they could leave to tomorrow. They'll stay if they know that those 5 things are going to take them another 3 hours. They'll stay because their best is to finish it during the day, but also your best is to take care of yourself.
Right.
So sometimes doing your best means saying no. Sometimes doing your best means saying no, thank you. Or it means leaving something for the next day. Or it means maybe not pushing yourself in a workout that you're doing when your body is telling you, I need to stop. There's a difference in, there's a difference in, I just don't want to do this. And your body going, I need to stop. Big difference. Listen.
You're exactly right. Mel says, there's a saying that says, I am not who you say I am. You are who you say that I am. You think about it. There's so much truth in that statement. That's very good.
There is.
Candy says, sometimes my best is 5K, sometimes 3K. So I totally relate to this.
Yeah, absolutely, Candy. And it's it's an everyday thing. Sometimes people that have chronic pain, they're going to get up in the morning and maybe the sun is out and maybe their body is warm and they can do a little more. And some days they're not going to be able to get up and do. That's not because they're not worth it. They're not deserving of it. It's not because they're not anything. It's because that's the circumstance that's unfolding. It's not anybody. It's not some karma. It's not a big payback. It's not, God pooping in the middle of your garden. It's not any of that going on. It's just that this is a circumstance that's unfolding. And we have to be pliable. And a word that we used in our recent workshop is pivot. We have to learn how to pivot. We have to learn how to, not only learn how to, but embrace the gift of knowing that I did my best. And you know what? My best is absolutely 100% good enough.
It's really interesting that you would say that too, because I've been working on, I've been doing my workouts. I joined Planet Fitness. I'm going and I'm doing that, but I go, I want to do something different. And what I used to love, I took ballet for 8 years of my life when I was a little girl, and I loved doing ballet. And then I got really, really tall, and then I got heavier than what I was. And then I got whatever, blah, 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 blah. I stopped. And I thought, well, I can't go and enroll in like Miss Buckingham's School of Dance like I was in when I was 7. But then it occurred to me, YouTube. And the part that I loved was a bar and doing the floor exercises. So I found YouTube and I put on the ballet floor exercises, and I'm doing them barefoot. I don't have to have on fancy ballet shoes. But I'm doing my floor exercises again, just for flexibility. And it's so funny how that has just blessed my little spirit, my little spirit, because my little spirit loved going to ballet class. I loved it. And I wanted to be a ballet dancer. And, then I turned 5'10" and willowy. And then I was on toe shoes, and I was literally a stork. I was very, very tall. And then you add another 5-6 inches. And I said, well, how do I find this thing to make my little happy? And it was the floor exercises of ballet. YouTube is great for that. And your little has some lesson that you did that's probably somewhere on YouTube that you could take up again.
Absolutely. And how fun is that? How fun is that?
Yeah. Well, and Candy says, have you tried Pilates, Devon? A lot of it's ballet based. I think you'd love it. You're right, Candy. And that's on my list of things. And I do have some Pilates classes that I can take. And that's one of my next things. That's so funny that you would say that, because I think flexibility as we age, back to our private group, flexibility is the thing. It's someone pointed out to me, and I said, well, as we get older, it's not necessarily I want to be a gymnast. They said, no, but have you ever done things like try to change lanes and you couldn't turn your head because something hurt and the flexibility was not there? Maybe you wanted to pick something up off the floor and your flexibility wasn't there. Okay, let's be real. Maybe it hurt when you had to toilet yourself and you couldn't move a certain way, and you go, oh my gosh, when did this happen?
Mm.
That is someone who taught Pilates told me that. And so they said, those are just the everyday things that we need flexibility for. Okay, I digress.
No, but I mean, I love that. I love that. And again, that goes back to, a component of doing our best. Like there's a difference in knowing, like you saying, Pilates is on my list versus, yeah, I should be doing that. I know that I could be doing that, and that would help my flexibility. I just don't have the time, Doing your best is going, yeah, that's on my list.
Yeah.
And not doing the self-judgment, not doing, with our best, and I know people that have heard us or listened to us and joined us, they've heard me say this more than once. Sometimes you're going to hit the bullseye. Sometimes you're going to miss the whole freaking board. And either one of those are okay because you showed up and you tried. You gave it what you had in that moment. So you've already won. You've already done your best. Can we improve? Absolutely. That's what we're supposed to do as human beings. We evolve, we grow, we learn. But also there are days that you're going to be tired. You're not going to want to do things. Listen to your body without the self-judgment that you should be doing all this stuff. You're just being lazy, No.
I gave myself permission to nap. I literally gave myself permission to nap. Now, will that tell you that will also, like, if you pull up to your grocery store, your little neighborhood grocery store, it's not a big chain. It's a little private, down the,
mom and pop kind of thing.
Mom and pop. I pulled outside and I go, I'm just going to take me a little 10-minute shut eye. And I put my little phone on thing and I just pulled up and I said, they all know me here. I'm just going to, doze for me. Girl, they were knocking on my window going, is she alive? Is she alive? They thought I had pulled up to the cash saver and died. I said, no, I was just taking a 10-minute nap. It's like crazy. So be careful where you nap. But giving yourself permission to do something that is very human.
Yes.
Is okay. Now, if you nap for 12 hours a day, there might be something wrong.
Might want to check with your primary care doctor there. Yeah.
There's some things that, I love this. Angie says, Lord, if I listened to my body, I would never get anything done. Oh, that's funny. Candy says, go for it. Pilates is amazing for flexibility, core stability, posture, and alignment. So good as we age. You're exactly right. And Corinne says, thank you. You gave me something to think about. Flexibility, physical. It some of that stuff is really, really simple. And you always point out, Teri, that sometimes you just like to joyfully dance. Moving is, my friends in the Parkinson's group said, motion is lotion for all of your joints, just motion. And whatever brings you joy,
Yeah. I mean, you can dance, I had was reading with someone the other day and they said to me, they were talking about a spark of excitement that they felt inside them about an opportunity that was coming up. And I said, you're going to ever let that spark out? And they said, oh, no. And they joked about they would be great in the royal family because they can just keep it composed. And I said, but what does that spark feel like inside? And I got tickled because they said, well, it was kind of like, and I said, like, or like, oh my God, and this is so much fun. And they laughed and they said, probably the latter, but I just won't let myself go there. And I said, Interesting, because we do try to keep ourselves so composed at times. We try to keep ourselves so composed because we've been taught that's the best way to show up. That's the best way to handle a situation. And again, I volley back to the truth that someone else's best way is not necessarily your best way. Like you have your own personal best way of doing things. And that gift resides inside you.
Well, I love it. And I was paying attention. I was writing down what we've been talking about. I kept this going. See, Elizabeth says, I saw the word Pilates flash by. She's in a meeting right now, you guys. She said she can only do it on the replay because she's working from home, which is totally okay. I saw the word Pilates flash by. Pilates is my jam. I get done with a workout and feel like I'm 5'10".
And we both laugh because we know Elizabeth.
Yeah, that's hilarious. My Pilates teacher says that too. This is great. And Mel says, Devon, after our conversation, you're the reason I got back into my exercise routine. Now, the thought that I get somebody into an exercise routine, it makes me laugh. Every muscle is still screaming at me, but they're screaming, thank you. I love their screaming, thank you. I love that. There is so much that we can do. In a recap, here's the stuff that's come up in Always Do Your Best. The phrase, I don't have time, deserves some re-examination. Educate yourself daily. There's something that you can learn every day. If you don't know something, don't be afraid to learn something about it. Be honest with yourself. Tell your truth to yourself. Let yourself go there.
Absolutely.
When it's join. And then finally, move, rest, listen to your body.
And I'm gonna, this phrase, this might sting a little bit. I'm going to say a phrase that needs to be re-examined is the thought that I could encourage someone to exercise is funny. Because if you know, I'm not gonna let you get away with that.
I knew, and you know what? And I said that knowing that you were going to do that, because that's the thing is that's an example of being honest with yourself.
Because you are doing it. You're Planet Fitnessing the shit out of it. You're doing it. So absolutely you can encourage others to do it. Girl, if I went inside and made some bagged banana bread somewhere and somebody was like, oh, that's encouraged me. You got to be careful with going, well, girl, it was just bagged banana bread. I mean, it wasn't nothing special. You did it.
Okay. But my point in saying that, and here's my point, is it makes me laugh because that I could encourage someone to do an exercise regimen shows a real change in the way I've done this year. That 100%. Shows, I mean, because I had in 2020, I had a black membership to black card membership to Planet Fitness, and I never walked through the door. Now I said, look, I'm going to invest $10 a month in me, and I'm going to go every day.
Right.
And if all I do is 30 minutes on a treadmill, I'm going to do that. So, and then finding out, and then it's like, okay, even if I'm home now, I have worked out and making a cup of coffee with the little, the Keurig. I can do my leg lifts. I can do leg lifts while I'm sitting there waiting for my coffee. 10, 10, 10, 10, and it's like, what? Yes. Here I am going, oh, I can do this while I'm working. I can do that. I can do a flexibility stretch while I'm doing this. It's like, because your body will allow change.
Your body craves change.
Now, this may cause a problem. Your mind is like, So.
Well, and the kicker there is the brain, the mind is our higher self. The brain is the thing that just gets trained. We train the brain. It's an organ. It's an organ that functions off of circuitry, and it functions off of memory, and it functions off of chemicals. The brain is, while we function and our brain is great for helping us, our body run smoothly or coming up with, our yeses and our nos and all of that. But what changes the brain is our ability in our mind, our higher consciousness, to go, I'm changing this. And then we start the process of potty training our brain. And then we evolve into a new narrative that suits us where we are, with an understanding that that narrative is not in stone all the time. Some days our best is going to be giving 2%, because that's all we've got to give. And if you're giving 100% of 2%, good for you. And if you have 150% and you're given that, good for you.
That's a great way to close this show. I mean, this is
Thank you, Sammy.
amazing, amazing. And, we are here each and every week, and next week we're going to start our guest series, and we're going to have guests on each week with different things to offer. And it's going to be wellness. It's going to be expanding our mind, mind, body balance. We're going to talk to different people, and we're going to discuss all sorts of subjects. So if you've got a subject you want to discuss, or maybe you'd like to be a guest on our show, drop us a note, devonoday@gmail.com. And of course, Teri at teripugh.com. This concludes our 4 agreements. If you do not have this book, if you have not read this book, go get you one. Go to a used bookstore and get it, and get one that you can write in.
Yeah. If you can find one in the used bookstores, I can tell you this: when I've taken it out to Riverbend multiple times, and the 4 agreements are sometimes a challenging book to find in the bookstore, in the used bookstores, because everybody's got this book and it's on their nightstand, it's in their bookshelf. I can't tell you how many times I meet with a new client and I'll say, okay, here is a book that I'm going to suggest. And they're like, oh, I think I have that in my bookshelf. I'm going to look when I get home. And it is amazing. It's amazing.
Candy says, listen to the audiobook this week. That's right. I will tell you and that's another thing. If you don't have time to read and sit down and read, the best money I spend every month is my Audible subscription. I love it. But audiobooks.com, Audible, whatever you use to listen to books, it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and here's another thing. This is a freebie. If you have a public library card, you can go onto the app, the Libby app, and you can search their regular books or their Kindle-based books, or you can search their Audible books or their audio books. And you can borrow books from the library, and you can rent them for like up to 3 weeks at a time. And if you don't have a library card, it's a simple, you go on to your local library, wherever it is that you're living, and you sign up for one, and it's good for 45 days, which will give you time to get into the library and get your hard actual card. And then that's a free resource.
Oh, absolutely. This is very cool. I feel like today was really informative for me. I don't know about you guys, but you guys bring it every week. You show up and you talk and you bring some really important things. And you've got an event coming up, your vision board. Are you doing your vision board workshop?
We are doing the vision board workshop. It's on the 11th of February. I'm going to be honest with you. Right now, we've got seating for 8. Right now, we have 1 maybe. So if we don't have anyone interested in joining it, then I'm going to scrap it and we will revisit it another time. I am going to be doing something online that's going to be a freebie, but it's going to be like an hour about the importance of grounding, breathing, visioning, and it's basically an awareness of how much your energy actually can work for you instead of against you, because your energy is working regardless. So either you're putting intention to it and it's working in your favor, or you're getting all willy-nilly and it's just happening, and then that's happening. So it's about, I'm going to have maybe 10, 15 people present in that. I've had people say, open it up and let everybody in the world want to come. But you know me, Devon, I'm a believer that intimate and small groups, we share more, we learn more.
Yes,
and we take
yes.
away more. And so I don't mind if I do several of these, but I'm not gonna blow it out and have 300 people join all at one time.
Oh, I know. I agree totally with that. I agree totally with that. So you guys have a great rest of your week and on into the next, and meet you on the next launch date. Teri, you be safe driving through the snowstorm.
I will.
And
I'm
you
gonna be
guys
safe.
reach out to us, and Teri's going to take it home for us.
Yes, as always, thank you all for sharing and choosing to share your time and your energy with us and your wisdom. And we will see you all next week. And when I see you guys again, believe it or not, my daughter, I will have a child that is 30 years old. She turns 30 this Saturday. So yay for that. And if you
Yes.
follow me on social media, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, just be ready for the onslaught of proud mom pics, because I'm going to post the shit out of them, and I'm totally cool with that. So
We can't wait to see you.
yes. And we will see you guys and gals all next week. And if you have a topic you want to unpack, let us know, and get ready for our month of guest speaker series. And let us know if you want to be a guest speaker.
Yep, absolutely.
And until then, increase your peace. I'm out of here to pick up a birthday cake, and we love you guys very much.